What is up, YouTube? I'm GOAT74 here, bringing you guys the top 16/octo finals of the PTL. This week we are taking on David Ryan, coach of the Tynamo Bucharest. We finished off the regular season with an 8-4 record, while my opponent finished off the regular season with a 9-3 record. Now, as I just said, this is the top 16. This is round 1 of playoffs. I hope you guys are as hype as I am. I've been looking very forward to this for quite a bit. Our overall season was really good overall. We did have a little bit of a slump near the end, but we brought it back with 2 wins and finished off 8-4. My opponent this week, David Ryan, I might refer to him as David a few times in this video, so just that might be a thing. He is a part of Team D-Train, and he's actually in the Shield division. We are in the Sword division, and we've been facing all Sword members up till this point. The playoff is a combination of both and just everything in general, and this is going to be our first time going up against someone over there. His team is very similar to Don Fanatics, however, who is in the Sword division, and we beat him with a little bit of hacks in our last battle. That is up on the channel. His team is very similar in structure. He's got similar mons, so it's sort of like we've gone up against this team before, but with a few differences, of course. We faced a meld metal in the APM this week, as you guys saw on my last video, and now we have to deal with it here, because now we have another one to deal with, so that's going to be really annoying. Luckily, my team is a little bit more suited for it this time. In regards to our matchup, it's like a 60-40 odds maybe in our favor. I am feeling pretty good about it, but we can definitely lose to a few things on my opponent's team. You guys don't know his team, but now we're going to get into it, so let's go. Alright, so for my first playoff game of the PTL, my opponent has a team consisting of Melmetal, Gyarados, Gardevoir, Diggersby, Noivern, Heliolisk, Hitmontop, Ninetales, Vileplume, and Crustle. Now I expect my opponent to consist of Melmetal, Gyarados, Diggersby, Noivern, Heliolisk, and Vileplume. And with the other 4 mons that I left on the bench, what I could see coming in order would be Gardevoir, Ninetales, Crustle, and Hitmontop for various reasons. Scariest thing on his team easily is the Diggersby and the Gyarados. Gyarados is a really good switch into my Cinderace, which is supposed to be my main breaker this week. And Gyarados can still be somewhat offensive. It's probably going to need Intimidate, but like DD, Waterfall, he has ran Bounce Power Herb, which kind of breaks through my Appleton. That's a little bit scary, and then like Power Whip or something like that could be very scary for my team. And the other big setup threat is the Diggersby. Diggersby with Swords Dance almost just completely wipes my team. I have like 1 switch in the Quick Attack a +2, and then Earthquake for everything slower. So I definitely have to watch out for that. That thing is going to be a big threat against my team, and I have to deal with it accordingly. Luckily, it is a little bit slow, so it is kind of forced to use Quick Attack a lot, but still, it is a big threat regardless. Other things that are really threatening on his team, Heliolisk, Noivern, and Gardevoir all could be specs, but the thing is, they're a little bit easy to revenge kill, especially Gardevoir. That's why I left it off as opposed to Heliolisk and Noivern. Noivern's probably the biggest threat of all those, just because Noivern's a little bit harder to revenge kill, because Cinderace's Pyro Ball, while it does a lot, it's not going to be doing a crazy ton. It can always take one, and Heliolisk I definitely have a hard time switching into. But if they are Scarf, they don't hit nearly as hard, though they are going to be a little bit annoying to deal with offensively. And then finally, Vileplume. While my offense absolutely destroys Vileplume in this game, my defense doesn't really like it too much, so I'm going to have to be a little bit careful playing around that. And that's why I'd expect those 6 to come. And then, of course, the Melmetal is just a big threat. It just sits there. I do have Rotom Wash, though, for it, which is really nice. And Rotom Wash, just in general, in this game looks really phenomenal, as well as Cinderace just spamming Powerball with a little bit of chip on a few things. And then finally, Priority looks pretty good against him as well. But that is just a breakdown of my opponent's team. What I'm bringing to this game this week, it consists of Cinderace, Vanillux, Rotom Wash, Appleton, Golisopod, and Silvally Steel. First up on the team this week is going to be the Cinderace. Cinderace is Choice Banded. Enough speed to outspeed Heliolisk with the moves Power Ball, Gunk Shot, U-Turn, and Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch just in case that Gyarados starts DDing and getting out of hand a little bit. Power Ball here is just stupid spammable against my opponent. His only switch in is the Noivern and the Gyarados, and they're both forced to be defensive if they want to take it well. If not, Gyarados has to have Intimidate. Otherwise, then Power Ball is just OHKOing basically everything. And the beauty about this is that if Ninetales wants to be like Flash Fire for whatever reason, then it can't really beat Rotom or anything on my defense really if it wants to do that. But if it is Drought, then it can beat through stuff like Rotom with the Solar Beam or whatever, but then Powerball comes in and just gets a kill. So that's the good thing about Ninetales there. Otherwise, it's just stupid spammable. I do have to be careful of Scarfers, but no Scarfers should be able to one-hit KO me except for like Scarf Diggersby, but I personally do not think that is going to be coming this week. And it just has a really, really solid matchup overall. I think my opponent's got a really hard time trying to deal with this thing. And I have U-Turn just to want to pivot out if I don't want to spam that move quite yet. That is going to be Cinderace. Second up is going to be Vanillix. Vanillix, as always, basically every week, is Choice Scarf as it is in here, with the moves Blizzard, Freeze Dry, Aurora Veil, and Ice Shard. Ice Shard again for priority, especially for stuff that's like faster than me, like Scarf Heliolisk, Scarf Gardevoir as well, or even Scarf Noivern if I need to really hit that thing hard and I'm low. Blizzard Spam is also pretty good in this game. He does have a Melmetal, and of course Melmetal is a really good switch in overall. And as I mentioned earlier, Drought, Ninetales can switch into me, but then again, that gives Cinderace a whole field day. Otherwise, and if Melmetal comes in, that's going to be annoying, but at least I can A, chip it down, and B, I have a full-on Rotom over there, as I'll get into, is a really good switch into Melmetal. So I'm not really too scared of that thing overall. Everything else either gets O-code or 2-code. The only other thing that could stop this is Hitmontop. Hitmontop can take one, and Mach Punch will do way too much to me, so I don't want to be staying in and clicking that button again. And then any extra Assault Vest users, but I don't really see anything on this team being Assault Vest this week. That is going to be Vanillix. Third up is our Melmetal switch-in. It is Rotom Wash. This is max HP with a lot of defense. With the Rocky Helmet, moves being a Volt Switch, Hydro Pump, Will-O-Wisp, and Pain Split. Again, mainly here just switching the Melmetal. This also perfectly deals with Gyarados if it doesn't have Power Whip, though I do expect it to have Power Whip this week. And it's also kind of a backup way to deal with Diggersby. It can deal with it one-on-one. I can't really switch into it too much, but I can deal with it that way. And Rotom is just really solid here overall. I did mention if Ninetales is not Drought, then Rotom basically beats it 1v1 as well. And it's just really good pivot overall in this game. But again, its main purpose is just to switch into Melmetal and make sure that thing isn't a threat. If Melmetal is still alive and Rotom is dead, then things could be a little bit scary. That is going to be Rotom this week. Fourth up is Appleton. Appleton is max HP, almost max defense with a little bit of Speed Def. Moves being Apple Acid, Dragon Pulse, Light Screen, and Recover. I felt like this was going to give a free switch into the Vileplume every time, so I might as well have Light Screen just to get something out of the turn there. This Speed Def is to make sure I can live a few specs hit from like Heliolisk, an electric hit, like pretty easily. It changed from like a 3-ko to a 4-ko or something like that. No, it wasn't an electric move. I forget what it was, to be honest, but it changed the rules or something. That's why I did that in the end. But Apple Acid and then Dragon Pulse is super spammable overall. I know Melmetal's also sitting right there, but again, with Rotom sitting there, not too scared of it whatsoever. And this is just to make sure Ninetales it doesn't get out of hand because I have Thick Fat, Hitmontop, the Heliolisk is my best switch into, and then Diggersby so it doesn't spam Earthquake against me. So that is what Appleton is here for. And then Gyarados is going to be forced to be bounced if it wants to even try and touch me there. So that is going to be the Appleton. Fifth up is going to be Golisopod. This is max attack Adamant with a little bit of speed. Moves being a First Impression, Liquidation, Rock Slide, and Aqua Jet. I do know that this gives Gyarados a free switch, but any chip on Gyarados is really nice for Cinderace to go late game, so that's pretty cool. First Impression is really good in this game. It destroys Gardevoir and Heliolisk right there, so it doesn't matter if they're Scarf or Specs. I come in and click the button. Even if Hitmontop has Intimidate, Hitmontop can't do anything back to me, so that's pretty cool there. Aqua Jet is for the Ninetales if I need a secondary form of priority. And then I can always take a hit from Melmetal except for Thunder Punch, so that's kind of cool too, just in case Rotom does go down. And I am faster than it too, so that's also kind of nice as well. And then I just beat Crustle offensively too, unless it's a really fast Crustle. I don't expect it to come unless it's going to be Hazard Stack or whatever. And that's going to be Golisopod. It's going to make sure things are checked with priority, which is going to be really helpful in this battle. And then finally we have Soul Valley Steel. We're going back to defensive this week with a decent amount of speed. Moves being a Parting Shot, a Defog, Multi-Attack, and Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is to hit the Gyarados, so I'm not walled by it. I didn't initially have Psychic Fangs over Defog, but it was just in case that my opponent did bring rocks. My Cinderace and my Pod and Vanillix don't appreciate that, so at least I had a way to get rid of it. I don't really clicking it because his only rocker is Crustle, and I don't see it coming. So I don't think I'm going to have to worry about hazards in this game, but it was just an option, and Psychic Fangs wasn't really doing too much anyway. And a Multi-Attack is pretty spammable against most of his team members anyway, and I can Parting Shot out on the Melmetal. And Soul Valley is my only really special switch-in, so I do have to be careful of predictions like Flamethrower, Noivern, or just Focus Blast Gardevoir. I do have to watch out for that, but if I can get past that, then Soul Valley is looking pretty good in this matchup. And that is going to be my team this week. I'm pretty excited to use it. There's no Galarian Weezing despite Hitmontop sitting there, and it could be useful for neutralizing gas. But hey, we're going to manage with it. I really like this team overall. I feel like Rotom's going to do a lot of work in this game. We're going to head over to Pokemon Showdown, and we're going to watch the battle. Alright, we are here on Pokemon Showdown, and my opponent did not bring the Diggersby, which I'm really shocked about, but I'm quite happy with overall. there is a Ninetales on my screen, so I'm expecting that thing to actually be Flash Fire to be a switch into Cinderace. But in regards to lead, I am going to lead off with Silvally Steel. It basically kind of 1v1s everything minus Ninetales, and it stops Noivern from spamming attacks, as Noivern is going to be the lead, so I do get that correct there. I'm going to fire off a multi-attack as they fire off a Boom Burst, and they're not Third Spray, but they are hella specs. And this was a really big turn because Flamethrower always 2-KOs me, thus Noivern would have been able to 1v1 my Silvally and stick around for a bit. So that was really threatening, but the fact that they actually clicked Boom Burst instead really helps me out. Melmetal comes in, takes nothing, but that's fine because I can just Parting Shot out the following turn and just go out into the Rotom, which is a really good wall to this thing. As they click Superpower, I'm not sure if that is banded considering that was at -1. It still did a load of damage to me. I'm not sure. I definitely know it's offensive. I'm going to Volt Switch out just in case they do go Noivern as they do. I don't want to give this Noivern any free turns, as now I can go out into my Vanillix, which is Scarf this game, as it basically always is. And I can find out now if this Ninetales is either Drought or Flash Fire, or he might just go out on the Melmetal. But he goes out into the Ninetales, it is Drought, and fortunately I do land my Blizzard, and I crit my opponent. I feel really bad about the crit just because it put it in range of a lot of different things. It takes one less hit now, so I do apologize for that. He's just fortunate enough that I already landed. Luckily, because he is Drought, my Cinderace is going to have a lot more fun this game, as I go on the Appleton just to, switch and take the Flamethrower from this Ninetales. And expecting them to switch out, I'm just going to set up a light screen. I can at least reduce the damage of my opponent's attacks there. As Melmetal comes out, that is fine. I always have a Rotom in the back to switch into that. I can definitely take a Superpower. As Rotom comes out, as they just click the Bash. And I do have my Rocky Helmet, so it is going to pile up some chip damage on this Melmetal very fast. Once again, like last time, I am going to Volt out just to not give the Noivern any free turns, as Noivern does come out. And by turn 9, we do get rid of one of the bigger threats to my team. This thing was looking very scary against me, and I'm glad I got my own mascot out of the way by turn 9. So now I can go out in the Vanillix. This will force out the Ninetales or the Melmetal, both which I can deal with quite fine as the Ninetales comes out. I do have a light screen up still, so Appleton is the freest switch in here in the entire world, as they actually pull a double and go out in the Melmetal. That is fine. My Rotom is still alive and well and healthy enough to take a hit from this thing, and if they kill me with Superpower, they're going to be just too low to do anything really, as they just click Iron Bash again, and we're both going to be so low on HP. This time I can Volt Switch and it will actually knock out the Melmetal, as that is what I'm going to do every time here, as they just sack the Melmetal. And by turn 12, it is 6-4, and we are in a really commanding position. I'm going to send out Vanillix again to force out Ninetales, because nothing else on my opponent's team deals with this thing. So we're looking pretty good here. I'm going to have to probably sack him on here, unless I go out in Appleton. I'm going to go out on the Rotom this time, just because it's done its job. It's done so much in the first 12 turns of this battle. I don't really need it anymore. I'm going to Volt Switch out as they Nasty Plot, so that is a little bit scary, as they're just going to knock me out with the Solar Beam. So Rotom doing a phenomenal job. It's going to go down here. Because they are Drought Ninetales, though, I can bring out my Cinderace and basically just claim a kill with Pyro Ball, barring I hit my attacks. So they go on the Gyarados, right? They're not even to Intimidate, and Pyro Ball does 83%. Holy shit, that does so much damage. I was just impressed by how much that did. Just in case they are Scarf, I'm going to switch out, like Scarf EQ, because I know Waterfall doesn't knock me out. We're going to go on Appleton. They do DD, so good play on my opponent's part. Could have probably just won the game straight up there, to be honest. But, oh well, they have bounce, and it is Power Herb. They do paralyze me, which is kind of unfortunate, and I actually get full pair this turn, so that really sucks. The only reason I was like somewhat expecting Power Herb is because they have brought it a few times in the past. So that's why I was kind of like, I could see this being a thing. But I was actually really scared that they would set up more and more, and at the time, I didn't realize that First Impression just always knocks out Gyarados from this range, so I was really scared at this point. I'm like, oh, if he's going to set up again and again, it's going to be really scary. They are Moxie boosted, but as I just mentioned, First Impression does always knock out from this range. So that is exactly what I'm going to do now. Nothing really wants to take it anyway. So Gyarados is going to go down. I do eliminate that threat. And at this point, we're looking really good here. Heliolisk is still looking scary, as that is going to come out here. I don't have my First Impression, so I kind of have to sack something. I'm going to go on the Silvally. I know Gardevoir is still alive and healthy, but both Cinderace and Vanillix are at full health, so they can always take one Scarf hit if it is Scarf Vanillix. As my Silvally is just going to go down. This is a Life Orb Heliolisk, so now it is in range of First Impression, so that's pretty nice. Gardevoir is going to come out. I'm going to Cinderace is my best way to kind of deal with this thing. Powerball should nuke the hell out of this, and it is Scarf Gardevoir, and I'm realizing like, oh, I really need to hit this. as I hit, and it just straight up dies. And because it dies, this game is basically kind of over. If I would have missed there, it would have been really big because I don't have Silvally in the back. And you're going to see I just hit my Helios again with the Powerball. At this point, first impression is just really strong against my opponent with Aqua Jet. And Ninetales is going to come out. It's not faster. And we are going to hit another Powerball. And we are going to win this game 3-0. So GG to my opponent, David Ryan. I'm not going to lie to you guys, that Scarf Gardevoir was looking hella scary late game. If I did miss my Powerball, it would have been a big problem there. And staying in on Gyarados probably would have made my life a whole lot easier. But I still stand by my play, as if he had just Scarf killed me with Earthquake, then that endgame would have been a whole lot harder without Cinderace. So I definitely stand by it. But again, I'm happy Cinderace and Rotom Wash put in a bunch of work, especially Cinderace. Man, Cinderace just hit everything so hard in this game. Again, GG to my opponent, David Ryan. Thank you for the battle. We are going to move on to the quarterfinals now, so I'm pretty excited about this. 6 of the 8 people left in the whole thing are GOAT Crusaders. That's wild. Our team is absolutely demolishing this whole system in this Civil War. Unfortunately for us, we are one of the 2 GOATs that don't face a GOAT, and we actually have to face the best team that isn't a GOAT Crusader in the whole league. That's pretty unfortunate. It is Gremlin, and if you guys saw my last battle against Gremlin, we got our ass handed to us. He's got Sand and Salazzle, so he's got a bunch of fun stuff that I love to use personally, so it's going to be very scary to go up against that again. But we're going to have to try and manage, and hopefully we can beat him and get us a win for the GOAT Crusaders. But that is going to be next week's video. Thank you guys for watching so much. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you like Pokemon Draft League content, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm going to head out of here. Have a fantastic day, YouTube.